Hello crafters, I'm Jan B and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'm going to show you how I made this congratulations card. I shared it on my blog a couple of days ago and I was asked if I'd make a video, which I'm always happy to do. Before I start showing you the cardstock that you're going to be needing, the card pieces, I would just like to say that on this one I have used our Shimmery White paper. I don't know whether you can actually see the shimmer on it or not. I have made another one, that's this one here, and on this one I've used our normal Whisper White. Now up against each other you could think that looks like very vanilla because it is quite a creamy colour. So I thought I'd show you what our three main cardstocks are. If I just move those out of the way so you can see properly. Okay, so that's our Whisper White, that's very vanilla, and that's the Shimmery White. Up against these two, it almost looks like a pinky shade, but it's a beautiful, beautiful paper, cardstock. So put these two up against these three, then you can see the differences between them. If you've never tried the Shimmery White, I really do recommend it, it's lovely. Okay, so put those two aside. In fact, I'm going to stand one up there so that I can see it. Oh, and the other thing is, when I showed this on my blog the other day, I didn't show the inside because I hadn't done anything on the inside, but I have now. Okay, so that's what's on the inside. Obviously, I haven't put any of the little bubbles on there because I don't put anything of any dimension inside my cards. But there you go, that's that one. So I've shown you those. I'm going to do the same as the gold card. This one, it might look like silver foil that I've used here, but it is actually our champagne, which is a very, very soft pinky kind of silver. We don't have champagne ribbon, but I thought that goes with it equally as well. I was happy with that. And you will see that I do use some of our retiring products in the video, although we've still got about nearly 3 weeks left to go before the launch of the new catalogue. And the reason I'm doing that is so that you still have a chance to get these products if you want them, if you like them. I don't, you know, eventually my videos will be watched after retirement, and I just feel that because then they will be all retired and you wouldn't be able to stand a chance of getting them. So at least I'm trying to give you as much warning as possible, and I will tell you which ones are retiring as we go along. So to start off with, the cardstock you're going to need. Your card base is Shimmery White, and that should measure 8 1/4 inches by 5 3/4 inches, scored and folded at 4 1/8, which is 21 by 14.5 centimetres, scored and folded at 10.5 centimetres. And then you need 2 pieces of the Shimmery White, which measure 3 1/2 inches by 5 3/8 inches, which is 9.7 by 13.7 centimetres, and 2 pieces of the gold foil, which measure 3 5/8 inches by 5 1/2 inches, which is 10 by 14 centimetres. That's because I line the inside of my cards the same as I do the layers on the front. Then you need a piece of gold foil, which measures 2 3/4 inches by 2 3/4 inches, which is 7 by 7 centimetres. I don't normally do this, but this piece I have already die cut because it's very easy to, there's one bit of stamping that needs to go on here, and it's quite easy to do even after the die cut has been done. So I have used the largest of our Stitched Shape Framelits, the squares like that. They come as a set, so you get 4 of each of these. If you don't have the framelits, then you need to make sure that this measures 2 5/8 inches by 2 5/8 inches, and then it will layer onto that gold piece there. You also need a piece of gold foil which measures 3/4 of an inch by 2 3/4 inches. Let me say that again. 3/4 of an inch by 2 3/4 inches, which is 1.9 by 7 centimetres, and another piece of shimmery white which measures 5/8 of an inch by 2 5/8 inches, which is 1.6 by 6.7 centimetres. And finally you'll need a scrap of shimmery white for the champagne glasses, and you'll need it big enough to do 4 glasses. So there are all the card pieces you're going to need. So we need that, and that, and that, and that. We will need that one as well. So that's the underneath one. Right, so what should we do first? That's definitely going to be last. Let's do the stamping on this one first. And all we're going to do is we're going to stamp the grounding, what I call grounding, so that it stops your glasses look as if they're floating mid-air. I'm using 3 stamp sets today. The first one is Mixed Drinks, and this one is a set that's going to be retiring, so if you want one you have about 3 weeks in which to get it ordered. I'm going to be using that glass there and that one. I am going to be using Beautiful You, and I'm just using that stamp there. Any stamp set that you've got that has a what I call grounding stamp, that sort of size will be fine. So that's Beautiful You. It's a 2-box set, that one. And the sentiment I'm using Congratulations from Petal palette, and this is another 2-box set. Again, you could use any sentiment you like. So the grounding on here first, and a lot of my stamping I stamp off, so I'm just going to bring my scrap paper in. By the way, this is my hostess number for May, so if you shop in my online shop, please quote that number when you're prompted to towards the end, and that means you'll be included in my hostess gift club, and you will receive a share of the hostess gift at the end of May. Well, you'll actually get it at the beginning of June. Right, so this one first. I don't know why I moved that over the way. So I'm using Crumb Cake ink. I'm going to stamp off once, and I'm just going to stamp at the bottom there. Brilliant, that's fine, that's all I need on that one. So, no, let's keep this. So I will need it for that and for that. So again, my grounding stamp, I'm putting it on my Whisper White square that I've cut. Am I still in screen? Good. Now just put this down towards the bottom in the centre, but I like to avoid the stitched line. I think I've finished with that stamp now. And then this one I am going to do my sentiment, and I'm not going to stamp off with this. I like the wood mount stamp sets, but I don't normally buy them because they take up too much room on the shelves. But this one I received as a free gift when I went to On Stage. Can't remember, it wouldn't have been the last one, it would have been one before, I think. Yes, in November. Right. I'm on a wing and a prayer here. But if I'm not straight, then I have one over there that I did earlier. There we go, it's quite easy to do that one. The word isn't actually straight. Or it's not straight to me. Okay, so there's that one. And now we are on to our glasses. I'm only going to do one because I've got 4 of them done already over there. So, Stays On ink. With the ones inside the card, you could stamp straight on to the top layer there, but what it would mean is you'd have to cut a mask for one of them, stamp one, cover it up, and then stamp the other one because of that overlap at the bottom there. So I decided to fussy cut mine because I was already doing them, so another 2 didn't make any difference. Okay, so black, jet black Stays On. Oops, there we go, that's brilliant. I know a lot of people say they like the smell of this, but I can't stand it. It's, to me, it's marzipan, or almond, not almonds, no, marzipan. Ugh. Right, now I'm going to do the champagne inside. This I found a bit difficult to do because I didn't want to do it as yellow. I didn't want to do it as like a crumb cake colour. So what I did was I combined the 2 of them. I did the So Saffron first, stamped off once, and then I did this, stamped off once, and I put that one on top of that one. In fact, what I'm going to do another one here so that I can show you the difference between the 2. I'll leave one as just So Saffron, and one I will do with So Saffron and the crumb cake, and then you can decide which you prefer yourself. Okay, so let's get the crumb cake first. Looks like I wiggled that one a bit. Right. Okay, so that's my So Saffron. Just going to stamp it off. And then stamp that. And repeat that. I don't know how well you can see that up there, whether you can actually see the yellow. It is very, very faint, but obviously full strength it's too much. And then stamp it over the top. Now the difference here is very subtle, but I think it makes all the difference in the world. Can you see that? I'm seeing a dark line across there. I wonder if you are. But can you see the difference? I think you can. I hope you can. And can you see the shine on there, the glitter on there? That's always difficult to try and show in the videos. But in real life, you can see it very clearly. Beautiful. Okay, so that's why I put the crumb cake on there. If you prefer that one, then by all means, leave the crumb cake out. So I'm just going to fussy cut this one. What I will do with that is I will come back to it later and stamp on it so that I can use it for another project. And on this I am leaving a small edge of the shimmery white. Sorry if I went out of shot there. It's quite an easy one to cut out. The secret is, I think, just keep your paper twisting, your cardstock twisting in the right direction. Went close to the glass there. And then just make sure that the end bit there is got a little bit of a curve around it. Yes, that's good. Okay, so if I bring the other bits over, in fact one of those can be saved for later. Okay. Oh, that's the one I did earlier, I think. Yes, it is. Never mind. Right, so what I'm going to do is this one, and I've used the bubbles from the catalogue. Now you may have overlooked these. I'm going to buy a few packets of this before the end of the month because I love using these, but it's in our spring summer catalogue. Okay, that one, and it's on page 33, or they are on page 33. It's those there, and they're called Glitter and Clear Epoxy Shapes. They're 176 adhesive backed epoxy accents in teardrop and circle shapes, perfect for raindrops and bubbles. One sheet of glitter accents and one sheet of clear accents. 88 shapes per sheet. Okay, so I'm going to show you both of them. I'm not quite sure the best way to show you. Now the ones on this side here are the glitter ones. Now let's see if you can see the difference between these. The glitter isn't very obvious, and on my first packet when I ran out of these ones, I just went on to those and it really didn't show too much. But let me show you up close. Now these ones here are the clear ones and these ones are the glitter ones. Oh, that shows up quite a lot there, doesn't it? But they're beautiful. Much better than having stamped bubbles. But having said that, what I did was I took the bubbles stamp, which is this one, and I just laid my glasses where I thought they would be, and I stamped the bubbles in, and then I just covered them up with the accents. I'm just going to stamp that off because I don't want it too obvious. Okay, so that's that one. You may not be able to see that from where you are because I have done it very light, but I can see it, and that's going to be my guide for where I am going to do. Let's do that again, I wobbled. That's going to be my guide for where I'm going to put these accents. There we go. And the other thing that I've done here is I've turned my stamp upside down so the bubbles are in a different pattern. So that's the big one at the bottom there, and that's the big one up there. Just one of those little details that nobody else is going to notice. So first of all, I'm going to pop these on here, and I'm going to use dimensionals. Yes, here. Now, because these are really quite delicate, I am putting 3 of the mini dimensionals there. But when you're doing something like this, you don't actually have to take the covering off of that middle one because it's only there really to give it support. I do, but then that's just like habit. Now I want to have, oops, get off, thin dimensional to come down here and a bit fatter to come across here. So I cut it off of here. As you can see, I've been doing it across there. Let's just cut those bits off. Don't need that. So the first two I cut are what I would consider to be wide enough to be on the bit at the bottom of the glass. And then the next two are very, very thin for the actual stem. Right, okay, I've got one stuck onto my finger, holding off for dear life there. Right, okay, so that's that one. Let's turn that over. There we go. And that was one of the fatter ones, which would be great. Oops. Great in there. And this is another fatter one. And that will go in there. Right, so I'm going to pop the first one on. The only thing I do find with these accents is they don't come off of the backing as easily as the rhinestones and the pearls do. I do find that they give me a run for my money. I have to chase them around that sheet. But as that company says, they're worth it. Right, just position that so the glasses are overlapping but going up to the bubbles. Right, get rid of all those bits. Now let's see if this is going to give me fun and games. Let's get rid of that bit as well. Now where's my paper piercer? Right, you see what I mean. Let's put it over that side. As you push them, they just move. Right, I'm going to use the big ones onto the big bubbles. So what I do is I guide it towards another, oops, another accent, and it starts, come on, it starts going up the side of the accents. Oh, crikey, what are you lot doing? If this gives me too much trouble, I'm going to have to finish it off after the video. Come on, what do you do? I wonder if you will work better. Oh. Right, now stay. Okay, what about you? Nope. No, that's not sticking, is it? Okay, try again. So I'll do one of the glasses and then I will come back to the other one after the video. Let's try another big one. A small one. Oops, got two there. Okay. I'll take two of you. Okay. So that doesn't seem to have any sticky on it. I wonder if I didn't pick it up. And I also put some bubbles on here as well. So if I can just, oops, there's another big one come up. Oh look, might as well take it as it's there. Let's try it again. Another little one for the glass. That's it. Because you'd be able to see the bubbles through the glass, wouldn't you? Or maybe, I think the other one, did I put any? I was thinking about, I didn't do it, I can see that. I was thinking about putting some of the teardrops, like condensation on the glass. But I thought, in the end, I decided against it. Alright, so we're going to leave it like that. When this is on the video, on my blog tomorrow, you can check whether I have actually finished it or not, off or not, because you'll be able to tell from here. This one, I've got the splodge stamp up the other way. Okay, so there's that sticky out bit and there's a sticky out bit up there. Okay, so you can check me out, see whether I did actually do it or not. Right, so this is going to go onto this piece, and I'm using Tombow for this. And when you adhere cardstock on top of foil, do try not to move it once it's in position, because if the glue gets onto the gold foil, it's visible, you can actually see where it's been, and it does somewhat spoil the look. It's a mistake I've made so many times. Like that, try not to move it. Just make sure that's straight. Yes, that's good. So there's that one. This one's for the inside of the card, so I'm going to pop these on. When I made the white card, because there wasn't any shine on it, I painted over all my glass with Wink of Stella, which made a lot of difference. It looked really nice. This doesn't need it because obviously the Shimmery White's got its own sparkle to it. Right, let's put that there. Now on this one I do the bubbles. I just stamp them because I don't like putting anything that's dimensional inside my cards. And I'm turning it upside down again to do the other one. just so it looks a little bit different. Okay, that one's come up a lot lighter. Where I haven't stamped particularly well on this one, it's just where the bubbles are broken. Right, so I think that's probably about it. I'm going to just assemble the inside of my card, and then I'm going to do the dry embossing for the front of that. And I have already put my tape on here. This is our tear and tape. I used to always use this, and I stopped using it when I first started making videos because I felt that it took too long. But when I'm doing a card like this, and I am able to put my tape on in advance, I do prefer it because I find it easier to get this on straight. Okay, so that's that. And this can go inside the card. Again, I've already got this bit sorted. Let's turn this upside down. When I'm doing this and I'm working on my own, then I can put my head as far forward as I want to. But I don't like doing that when I'm making a video. Right, does that look straight? I think so. Okay, so that's that part of the card done. I now need to bring up my Big Shot because I want to do the dry embossing. Those I'm going to finish later. Don't think I need any more stamping to be done. So that can go out of the way. Pop those back in the little tray there so I know where everything is. Pop those there safe. Right, okay. So first of all, this is a piece that I'm going to be dry embossing, and I'm going to be using our ruffled embossing folder. It's one of the dynamic ones and it's just absolutely stunning. It really looks 3D. Now when you're using these embossing folders, they are much thicker than our regular ones, and this means two things. One is you should spray this with water. A lot of people don't, and it doesn't seem to do any harm for what they're working on, but I do prefer to do it. And the other thing that you need to do is, again, because it is so thick, you need your platform, not the thin die adapter, just this one, and just one cutting mat. Okay, that's all you need. Now, obviously I can't show you, oh, it's over here, isn't it? I can't show you me spraying this, but you will hear it, I'm sure. And I just do one, let's move this way, I do one spray on each side. I'm holding this about 12 inches away from me, and then I turn it over and I do it again. I don't know whether you'd be able to see where I've sprayed that or not. Oh yes, you can. Okay. I don't know why we were told to do that. I imagine it's because it just helps the cardstock. It's less likely to tear or anything, or for the embossing folder to damage it. But for me it works brilliantly every time. Okay, so that goes straight onto your platform, put the fold in first, and make sure you don't have this sticking out on either side, because it is more or less the same width as the platform and the cutting mat, and then you just put that through. It's not any more difficult than cranking through any other embossing folder. But look at that. Isn't it beautiful? It really is so 3D. These bits are bumpy. Really very, very much like fabric. They've done an absolutely fantastic job with that. So let's put all these pieces back again. And then I can put the big shot away. Now this piece I didn't put tape on it already because I wasn't quite sure how that would work, putting it through the big shot. Now this you can tear, you don't have to cut it. I just find that if I try tearing it, I often tear the cardstock as well. Just give that a little run down because you want it to go in and out of all the bumps. I have had other methods suggested to me how I can tear the tape without tearing my cardstock. But it's one of those things where I'm so used to doing it like this that old habits die hard. And something else, I am going to be like this one here, the gold sheet there and this gold sheet. I never ever cut shapes out of there before I put my my top layer on there, never. I know people do, but I would just hate to send a card to somebody and maybe the postman drops it in, it's raining, he drops it in a puddle or something, and the layers separate, and then the person I've sent the card to sees what I've done. I wouldn't like that at all. In fact, turn that round again. Let's do it this way. There we go. I will pop these two pieces on, and I'm going to put them on with dimensionals, and then I'm going to put the ribbon around the centre. I did think about popping these on without having the ribbon, but I couldn't get it arranged nicely so that it fitted in, so I'm sticking to putting the ribbon on. So this one first. Just about enough, look at that. But I have started a new one for the sentiment. I do use all the edge bits on there, but while I'm videoing, this is just quicker. There we go. So first of all, let's do this one. And as I put this on, I try and make sure that I've got the same sort of gap at the top and on the two sides. And then once I've done that, then I can position the other one, the sentiment, Right, let me have a look. I think that's okay. Yep, that looks okay to me. And then this one, so now I'm going to try and get the same gap around down this side, because this is the same. Oh look, I got a raindrop, look. Right, okay, let's concentrate. Let's get this straight with the same sort of gap. I think that's alright. It's a bit disconcerting because you've got the wavy lines. I think that's alright. I'm going for it. Right. So now this, I need some ribbon round it. And this is our 1/8 of an inch gold ribbon, and this is retiring, and I think that's the bit that I cut too short, wasn't it? Yes, it was too much of a fight to try and work with that. I'd much rather waste a little bit because I've cut this too long rather than a big bit like that. Okay, so that looks about right for me. So the way I do this, make sure it's laying flat at the back there, and then keep those flat on there. And then as you come over, the only fold you've got is, you've got a fold here with this piece coming down, and likewise you've got a fold on that piece as that's going down. Well, up actually, that one. Okay, so that's the only fold you get, top and bottom. Give it a little bit of a pull, not too much, and then put your finger on it to hold it in place. And then this one, bring it up and keep it flat, no creases, no folds, okay? See that one? And then this one, bring it around, no folds, no creases, and then fold that like that, so it's still flat, and then it goes through the hole. I'm slipping here a bit. Come through. Now when I do this, one or two things happens. One, it works beautifully and the ribbon and the bows stay really nice and tight, or it finishes up. I'm changing over fingers here, but I missed it. Right, let me just do this without talking for a minute. That's better. Right, okay. What I was saying is, one or two things happened. One, it works beautifully first time, which is rare, or it finishes up that the ribbon is on the loose side, which is what's happened here. Okay, so that's a bit on the loose side. Now I could spend all day keep tying and untying trying to get this to go right. So what I do is I cheat. Okay, see, that would look alright as long as that was tight, So what I do is I'm going to put that bow where I want it to be. I'm going to fix it in place with a glue dot, which I am going to roll into a little sausage. Can you see my sausage? Yep. I'm going to put that behind my bow. And then I am going to adhere it down on here. Okay. Now with these two bits here, what I'm going to do is make sure they're nice and tight. Pull up the flack at the back. Alright, so that looks nice. I've got this amount of space here, which is what I don't want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tear and tape. And let's let that go for a minute. I'm going to pull one side tight, anchor it down. And the other side, make sure it's coming over straight, nice and tight. I'm going to anchor that down. So I've got this bit here. Make sure that's nicely adhered down. And then I'm going to cut that. I know there are lots of ways of doing cheats bows, but this is my preferred method. There we go. Okay, so that's okay. A little bit skewy, but I can live with that. Now I'm going to pop this onto here. Yes, that'll look good. So what I need to do is, because I put my tape on first, it's actually gone under the ribbon here. So what I do is, before I try putting this onto my card base, I just pull it forward like that. Now these don't matter because I'm going to pull those off as I'm taking these side strips right off. There we go. So let's do the top bit. And it goes that way, so let's turn it around that way. I think that looks straight. Shall we go for it? I think so. Right, let's do that one first, and then I'm going to take the one off the ribbon. And then I'm going to pull that one off, take the one off the ribbon, the one at the bottom, oops, and there we go. Looks like I've knocked that out of place. No, that's all right. So there we go. There. Oops. There's today's project. Let's put myself back together again. So there's today's card, which needs to be finished off. This is the one that I showed on my blog. And this is the Whisper White one. Let's put that in the middle. So done the inside, done the inside, done the inside. In fact, let me just show you where I did the Wink of Stella on these plain ones. Always difficult to show Wink of Stella. Oh, you can see that, look. So that's made it look really nice, and the ones on the inside as well. Yep, you can see that. Okay, so that's in the absence of using glimmer paper. I hope you've enjoyed today's project. Hope you give it a try. Many thanks for joining me today. If you'd like to purchase any of the products, especially the retiring ones, you need to act quickly on those. There'll be a link to my 24/7 shop in the box below. If you do order during May 2018, please remember to use that hostess code so that you can join the hostess club, so that you share with the hostess gifts at the end of the month. If you've enjoyed my video, please click on the subscribe button and you'll be notified each time I upload new videos, which is normally Wednesdays and Sundays. And I will put all the measurements and the products that I've used in the box below. And I think that's probably about it. So many thanks for joining me today. Until next time, happy crafting. Cheerio.